Hello everyone, and welcome back to Aethelburg, our European series here in Cities Skylines 2. Today's episode is a shorter one. A lot of you have mentioned that the city could use more green space, so we're fixing that by building a giant new park using the Netherlands Cemetery Pack and a few new mods. I'll also go over some changes I've made to the football stadium based on your feedback. As always, if you're enjoying the series, hit that like button and comment on your favorite urban park. But with all that out of the way, let's get started. Let's actually begin with some community feedback from last episode where we built Aethelburg's first football stadium and the surrounding district. Now, this team name is still being voted on, so I will have a link in the description for where you can get your votes in, but in the meantime, got a ton of good feedback on how to improve this. The first of which was that I completely forgot to recolor the stands here, so went ahead and did that, made all the props a more consistent hue. But the most popular piece of feedback by far was that I need a separate entrance for the away team, because apparently asking the fans to co-mingle at one of our main entrances here is just asking for a fight to break out. And I'm like, damn, Europe goes hard. So what I did is added this separate entrance on the side here. This is the additional teacher building from the modern high school. And I like this because it's a similar color palette to the stands here. It's got a ramp so it's accessible. And this part kind of looks like a staircase attached to the side of the building. So thought that fit in pretty well. But then it's got its own path leading down to a separate transit stop here. This is a currently non-functional bus stop, but we will make it functional in a second. But the idea is that away team fans get dropped off here, separate from the tram stop over there, and then they have to walk up past the smelly garbage on their way up to the entrance. Whereas we, as the home team, can take either the sleek tram system to the south entrance here, or walk up the majestic staircase with the great views by the north entrance. Let's quickly make this stop functional then, and my idea is that we will have two lines, one to an outside connection, so it's literally like an away team coming into town, and then another to Queen's Landing, because I totally want to get another stadium by Queen's Landing eventually, and then we can have like a rivalry between two teams within Aethelburg. But to do all that, we got to place down the bus depot, so let's go to our bus tab, and this thing is kind of a monster, so I'm going to place this over by the train yard, in this open spot right here, since it's got easy access to the highway there. Let's get an alleyway. And we'll come off around here, and then we'll go parallel to the train track. Plop this down in the corner there. And leaving a bit of room over here in case we need to extend this in the future, but that should be good for now, and I don't need to assign it or anything. So what we're gonna do next is get an integrated stop within this fake little bus stop here, which is just a static ploppable because the real assets were a little too big. We'll do a bus stop sign. Away team doesn't get their own shelter. And I can't place it within, I realize, so what we're gonna do is then get a transportation line going through this gap right here. And that fits pretty well. That's perfect, nice. Okay, so we'll do our outside connection first, and we will go to, I think this is Krukern? Southwark, never mind. And then we'll get one more stop right in front of Queen's Landing. Or how about by this little parking lot here? Make all the fans walk a little bit. Next up, a few of you pointed out that we should probably have another tram stop along the way to the stadium in Brightshire, since it's a pretty populous area and we got these businesses here. So went ahead and made a copy of this road here in Road Builder with a larger median that supports tram stops, and then decorated it with some planter props, some seats, and of course our official red and yellow city brick color combination. But I chose this specific block because we got the businesses right there, and then I'm actually going to get rid of these buildings pretty soon. And this is where I want the park entrance to be, and I thought that would be a good spot for a transit stop. And last, I asked for some name ideas for what to call a new district out here, since right now everything is part of Stadium, and that's just way too big, so we should break this up and create a new district for the suburbs. And from Bob is the best he, we're going to call this Wyndham, which I like because it retains that UK vibe, and all these houses are up on a hill, so I imagine it is indeed windier up here than it is down in the Aethelburg Valley. So let's bring back the stadium district and create a new one just for the houses. and we'll assign it services. Nice, so Wyndham is now fully covered. However, one of our services, garbage, is not doing too great. And that's probably because these two service blocks over here are completely full, and they have been for a little bit, and I've done absolute zilch about it. So I'm thinking it is high time to get down a proper recycling center. And I'm gonna go for the recycling center over a landfill just because it's a little cleaner and we won't destroy the ecosystem more than we already have. But also it's kind of hard to make landfills look good in this game, so the recycling center can just look like an extension of the office park here, or the industrial park rather. First, let's get rid of these two blocks though, since they will become redundant, and they're just kind of costing us money right now. And in this one's case, a lot of money. I'd also some extra truck parking for that particular one over here, so let's get rid of these surfaces that it left behind. And in fact, we can use this space for a little bit more zoning, I think, because our unemployment after last episode when we added like 5,000 people is still completely in the toilet. But for the recycling center, we have to unlock it first. Luckily, it's only 2 development points, so we'll grab that. And let's place it over in this corner here. I'm going to extend this industrial road of Wood Lane out a little bit, and then we can do more factory zoning on that side. But we're going to have to eat into the hill a little bit as well. And let's get the Japanese center because it's a little smaller than the vanilla asset. So yeah, this one's a monster. We can fit this a little more easily, but let's have it facing the access road there. Smooth out the terrain behind it. And then let's zone on this side of Wood Lane. Checking for the capacity, it's 1,500 tons per month, and we are producing 530, so more than enough. Let's just cover the entire city. And from this view, you can see we almost had a water crisis as well. So let's just bump up the water service budget just a smidge. Kick that can down the road. And then I can see we're also missing out on buses here. So we're just killing it. This is becoming a service episode. I'm thinking, let's take a look at how many vehicles. Yeah, so it's using 8 buses. We do not need that much. So let's bring this all the way down. For our inner city rival, I don't want to make it free, but let's make it not too expensive. Let's go up to 15. However, for the outside team, for visiting teams, we're going to make their fans pay out the wazoo. So let's charge this one max price. And you also do not need 10 buses. All right, hopefully that holds us over for a bit. But okay, now with garbage hopefully under control and our trucks slowly but surely making their way to the city, let's finally start on this park. And we actually got some lore here submitted by someone either named Levi or Levi on the Discord. And they suggested that we make some sort of memorial dedicated to those wrongfully accused of witchcraft back in the 17th century. And the idea is that this cemetery that we're about to build is where those trials and executions happened. And to honor their memory and kind of acknowledge their innocence, they turned it into a big public park some years later. So we'll have 2 components here. The first will be the cemetery, and we're going to use the Netherlands Cemetery Pack, which is awesome, to build this out. And then we'll have a giant park around it. And for inspiration here, I'm looking at 2 places in London. First is Brompton Cemetery, which I saw when I was checking out Stamford Bridge Stadium for last episode's build. And from space, it looks like just this giant park plaza, but then you zoom in and you see it's actually a cemetery. And I think it looks really cool. And if we place it down here, if we turn on the terrain lines, you can see we have somewhat of a bowl here. So we're going to use this flat space to create a rectangular cemetery plaza going up into the kind of the foothills over there. And then all around it, we're going to take inspiration from Hyde Park, which is one of the bigger parks in London. And you can see it has all these crisscrossing paths all over the place, and this really regal looking pond at the base of this complex, which I'd like to replicate. And my thought is that our building, like our palace there, is going to be the old home of the Baron who oversaw the witch trials, and then the city turned it into a museum to kind of remember those he wrongfully convicted. And we can even do something like Speaker's Corner over here, another big attraction in Hyde Park where anyone can give speeches, and it's to make sure that anyone can protest against official actions like the Baron's. Let's begin then by getting rid of these unfortunate houses here and kind of freeing up the block. Ooh, I don't want to delete the parking facility though because it is full. So instead, let's move it over to the old port here, which I swear we had a surface down to fill that in, but looks like we got some open space. I think let's pause it and move these offices to face this road here instead. And we'll Control H them to the height of the road. Just like that, get rid of those weird trees. And let's see if this is enough room for this asset. And yep, that should be good, but obviously get rid of these trees as well. And if I press play, perfect, that thing's zoned in. And I guess when I moved it, it deleted all the cars. So all the cars kind of looking for a spot here now have a good place to park. But over here, we're going to start with the base asset of the Netherlands Cemetery Pack, which is as amazing as everyone has said it is. So let's go to our Death Care tab. This guy right here. I want to make sure that the back kind of extends in the direction of the valley there, although I want to make sure it's also not at a weird angle to Strawberry Street. So let's get it maybe around here. And maybe we can better frame it by bringing Crest Street closer to the side here. Somewhere like that. So let's go to our level terrain tool and make sure we have a nice rectangular extension out the back, because this is where kind of the walking plaza will be. Now, just like Brompton, we're gonna have a few rectangular blocks coming out this way before ending in like a nice plaza out here. And for the plaza, we're gonna use the crematorium, which is this really cool looking asset. But let's begin by getting some of these burial site straight components coming down the middle here. We'll do 2 and then a center pond before doing 2 more. And then let's frame it on either side with these kind of smaller assets here. Okay, that should be plenty. Let's go get some basic vanilla pathways. And actually, those might be okay. Let's instead see if we can't just attach the mausoleum directly to here. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Nice. And that was a cool $350,000. So we've basically eaten like 75% of our budget since starting this episode. So we got to keep an eye on that. But next up, I'm going to do 2 more paths to get some more blocks on either side. And in those, we're going to get these more kind of flexible burial site fillers. And we'll just get a whole bunch of rows of them. Okay, already this is looking pretty cool, but let's do a little bit of detailing, because looking at Brompton Cemetery, they have this really nice tree line down the center, and I left a little bit of open space here just for that. So let's get some oaks down on either side of this row here, and then how about some flower bushes to separate these peasant graves from the noble graves over there. Let's use Better Bulldozer to get rid of the built-in plants though, which don't look super nice. We'll keep the plants around that pond there. But we'll go to our line tool, oaks, and how about, we'll do the default 20 meters for the oaks since they're pretty big. And then this wildflower bush in this open spot here. Could probably use some nice surfaces underneath these grave sites because, I mean, people are going to be walking all in between there. So let's go to our surfaces tool. And how about, we'll go to our ground surface. Let's do this riverbed thin. I don't know if that did much, but I think it looks a little better. Let's do the same thing on this side. I think it differentiates from the grass a little bit, but last thing I want to do for detailing is let's get a hedge on the outside just so people kind of mourning the deceased here can have a little bit of privacy, but we'll leave gaps open where the paths meet here since this will lead out into our Hyde Park area. So let's go to our net lanes and we'll get the more clean cut hedge, this one right here. And honestly, that's probably all we really need to do for this cemetery because the base asset already looks amazing. So there's not much more detailing we need to do. And in terms of function, it's operating at 113% efficiency, which I never got why that's even a thing, but it's got 12 hearses, so that should hold us over for now, I think. But that means we can move on to the Hyde Park portion of this area. And if you look at it on Google Earth, there's this nice lawn that connects the round pond that is totally not round to the Serpentine Lake. And I want to do something like that here. We'll have the pond down here next to the cemetery, but on the other side, it's going to lead up to this roundabout. And I'm choosing this as the entrance to the lawn because all the roads are leading to it, so it's a nice focal point. Let's begin then with some terraforming. We'll get a pad of land for the pond down here. And then let's slope down from the roundabout. From here, let's go to our pathways, and we're gonna go to parallel mode. Let's get them four apart. And then we'll kind of frame the lawn here, making sure the roundabout is pretty much in the center there. Now, for this pond, we're gonna frame it with more pathways and then depress the land inside of it before getting some water in there. So I'm gonna do the exact same shape that I see in Hyde Park, which is kind of a pain to build because, here, I'll show you. We're going to connect these here. That's going to be one edge of it, but you can see it kind of comes out a unit, so we can do that. But if I deselect it, I can't reconnect to the very edge of that node again unless I turn off this snapping. But I still want to come out just like one more unit, so I'm basically just going to do that for the entire perimeter here, turning this thing on and off, and it's going to be a pain. So let's steam through this. And there you go, a regal looking pond. So next step is to lower the land a little bit. Let's turn this way down. And then we'll grab this terrain and level out the entire inside. We'll go to our road tools and turn the inside to a key wall. And then we can finally fill this up with some actual water. And for that, we'll go to our water tools and just create a lake here. And then I should have done this before I turn this into key walls. We'll grab that elevation, a meter below, and then let that fill in. And I expected the surface to change. I wonder if we just basically click this and yep, there we go. Okay, yeah, that looks a ton better with the water surface underneath. So let's smooth out this terrain that I kind of messed up, and let's finally enclose the park with the rest of our road system here. What I want to do is bring a road, a tree-lined road, out from this roundabout here, which is going to be one of the major entrances into the park, along this contour line here, and then we'll swing it around to meet up with, I think this is Crest Street, right there. Our Baron's Mansion, that is now a museum, will be right here above the pond, because I want to create some sort of backyard staircase leading down into this pedestrian pathway right there. And then we'll have another section of housing right here between whatever road that becomes and Fawn Street. And then we'll just swing it around. So let's go to our tree-lined road. And I'm actually gonna upgrade this section since it is adjacent to the park. And I figured that should probably be a little higher capacity than this alleyway here. So we'll go up to, the roundabout. And then we can come off at an angle right from here. And I always have to remind myself that I don't need every road to be kinked like this. It is okay to have curves in a road system. I guess I've just been traumatized from all the feedback from episode 1. That being said, these will still be kinked. We'll do something with that later, but let's think about the placement of the Baron's Castle or mansion, because I do want it parallel to that pedestrian path right there. So let's get a flat pad of land for the asset itself. This is at 55 meters. Let's go 5 meters above it. We'll get the staircase nice and close. And then I'm gonna come with just a basic alleyway, come off at a right angle here. And let's see, I think maybe we'll see how far this gives us. I'm gonna go to find it. No, I have not unlocked this yet, but I'm still gonna use it anyway because it is a very cool asset. This guy right here. Or no, this guy right here. All right, yeah, that should be perfect. Line that up just like that. So now let's swoop this around and we can create some sort of driveway there. All right, sweet. You can see it has its own parking, so let's upgrade this road to one with grass and trees so we don't have, you know, riffraff parking right in front of our museum here. Get rid of these extra trees. And boom, we got the Baron's Castle. Let's try this staircase now. So if you watched last episode, you may recall that I tried to use some staircase assets for this pedestrian staircase right there, which is now just a slip and slide, but it didn't really work out. And actually that's really cool to see all the activity there, but it didn't really work out. The angles weren't right. So maybe we'll give it one more shot over here. These assets are part of the Pathways tab here. And again, this is from Harbor Master J in Sully's Discord, but let's just try something, something like this. See if the angles cooperate more. I don't know, that might work. We might have to raise it up or lower the house just a little bit. Here, let's get a line of these parallel to the path there. I think that height might actually be perfect if we just shift the house closer over here. Or maybe if we do a little bit of terrain work, let's see. Oh man, we are so close. Okay, I think if we get some concrete pillars or multi-purpose slabs here, we can kind of fill in this gap. So let's do a little bit of detail work. And look at that, we got a staircase. And honestly, that turned out better than I thought it would, just because I was having trouble with the terrain lines poking through the assets here. But then I realized that this prop, or this asset, creates a very clean cut edge on the terrain that we can back the staircase up against, and that gets rid of any gaps in between it and the tiles there. And I realized that some of these benches came back. Go away. But yeah, that's looking good. So we'll rename this to be some kind of museum in a second, but that's the first main attraction. The second main attraction is our version of Speaker's Corner, where anyone can give a speech or protest, and was built to honor those who spoke out against the Baron during the witch trials. So let's get the small city park along Cypresswood Street here, because that'll have some epic views over the pond here. And this is literally called Small Park, I think. Yeah, this guy right here. Something like that. Obviously, no good place to give a speech. Actually, I mean, that gazebo might be okay, but I'd rather get the actual stage prop that we have. So I'm gonna go to Better Bulldozer, remove that. Nope, go away. Okay, there we go. And go to find it, and it's this prop right here. Let's have it, yeah, let's have it facing the pond itself. And remove these tents. Very cool. Let's just rename this now. Speaker's Corner. people will come far and wide. There is a little bit of terrain cleanup to do. And that is attraction number 2. Attraction number 3, I always love it when a park has a nice cafe or restaurant in it. And I saw this in Regent's Park in London. Obviously, Central Park has a bunch. And actually don't know if we have any here in Seattle. But the asset I want to use for this is a commercial signature building. And it's the La Cuillère d'Argent, I believe. Yeah, La Cuillère d'Argent. I'm not sure how to say that. But it's this really fancy restaurant. And I think it would be really cool to just eat on the back patio and gaze out over the pond there. So let's get it right around here, in between these two intersections. And again, a little bit of terrain cleanup. And that is attraction 3. The last one I want to do is just a very basic playground. I want to make this fun for kids too. So I actually have a mod by Washi776 called More Parks. And there's a large playground involved in that one, if I can find it. Here you go, 6x4 playground. Let's get it closer to the school over here. So we're gonna do it on this stretch of Cypress Wood Street, right around there. And again, just really wish I could attach these assets to the pathways themselves, but alas, that's for a future date. But nice, all we gotta do now is connect up these attractions with some pathways. And if you look at Hyde Park, it looks like these paths are going off at, crazy angles, but really they're just straight shots from A to B. And that's what I want to do here. Basically like connecting a park entrance here directly to the pond, or from here directly to the museum and vice versa. And then we'll connect up those paths to the cemetery here. So yeah, let's give this a shot. Sure, something like this. Basically connecting all these entrances and parks to each other or to the main lawn here, which is definitely one of the main attractions. And I want to funnel people to here as much as possible. But really all we got to do now is a little bit of landscaping, clean up some of these trees, maybe do a little cleanup over here by the cemetery. Then we'll fill in the housing here and finally flush out the lore behind this park. So let's do a quick detailing time lapse. All right, well, by a little detailing, I guess I meant a lot of detailing. And some of you may have noticed this and have been, oh, hey, look at that. Milestone 10. Perfect. All right, what do we get? 250K, nice. And some, oh, we got high density office. All right, that's going to be clutch for jobs and stuff. Plaza, excellent. We'll do that Eclipse Nightlife sometime later in some like rave zone. But as I was saying, some of you may have noticed this from the get-go and have been screaming into your screens that I did not actually purchase these tiles. I completely forgot. And I'm so afraid that once we do this, we're going to get a bunch of these pedestrian access icons. So let's give this a shot. We got to buy this and that tile. Might as well buy this one. And yep, there we go. All right, let's do a little bit of cleanup. Okay, as I was saying, what was I saying? I guess let's do a quick recap of the park itself, because some of these props, I really like the details of them. So the first one you'll notice is this brick fence along the perimeter of the park that is somewhat cooperating with the terrain there. But luckily, this net lane stays the same color for the entire length of it. So I didn't have to worry about different color combinations. But in addition to that, got Fragonaut's Arch as an entrance to the cemetery, and then use this Netherlands Cemetery gate prop along all these entrances here to the park itself. And yeah, I really like how that looks, especially up here by the head of the lawn. But then did some landscaping, benches all throughout, these fun little park signs, some trash cans for, maintenance, and some little picnic tables to eat around. That just leaves us with a little bit of lore and naming cleanup, and then I want to place down one more asset that literally just came out before recording this. But in terms of the lore, I want to create a district for this park and name it after the person on Discord who came up with the idea for the witch trials, Levy. So this is henceforth known as Levy Park. And let's say slow down past the park, please. Let's also include these houses in Wyndham for now, but once we develop out here, we can create a new district. And let's not forget to assign services here. And I see some hearse icons over there. Let's help out in the alt stat with this Netherlands Cemetery here. Oh, it's already covering it. Okay, well, hurry up. All right, the other piece of naming I want to do is the manor here. And in the thread that they created, Levy also mentioned someone who was not exonerated from the witch trials, someone named Gerda von Kronendum. And they didn't say why, but I'm going to say it's because they were way too close to the Baron here, and the jury said, nope, that's shady, you are not free. So we're going to call this Kronendum Manor. And Baron von Kronendum just sounds badass. Okay, so this last asset that I want to place down is from none other than Fragonaut, the creator of our arches and the walls around Queen's Landing, and all that over there. They just came out with a new water tower, and it's under landmarks. If you go to parks, landmarks, this guy right here, sorry, a cemetery tower, which is perfect because it's right next to the cemetery. What I'm thinking is maybe this is like where the groundskeeper lived, and I want to place it near the water, so if they lived here, they had easy access to like a well there. So let's place it maybe in this group of trees here, and then we can connect it with a pathway. And give the groundskeeper easy access to both of these entrances. And let's call this, what else? Kronendum Tower. And I think we can place like a leisure block in here so it has some attractional value. I'm gonna go to find it. I think it's literally just called leisure block. Or city attractions facility, how about that? Oh, look at that. The Atkin Palmer Mansion. Oh, that's pretty cool too. Oh, of course, before I forget, we gotta do make sure that the Anarchy Transform lock trick is set for those. Okay, sweet. But that about does it for today, so short and sweet. If you have any ideas on any attractions we can include in the park, or honestly what to do on this hill, because I definitely don't want to leave this open for too long. And I was thinking maybe we could do something like Notting Hill in London, but maybe that's a little too on the nose, so definitely open to ideas there. And hopefully by next episode, the poll will be complete for our team name here, so we will hopefully have an official football club name. And then we can start thinking about lore behind it and what kind of rivalry we want between Aethelburg and Queen's Landing there. But yeah, as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.